Hit the like button on the way in. Now they say that Adidas canceled Kanye. It looks like Kanye canceled Adidas by the listening to this again.
Like, I learned how to play basketball in a summer and came back and won championships. So I, as her dad, am gonna go and I'm gonna coach her.
So like I said, the big question is, did Adidas cancel Kanye or Kanye cancel Adidas? Hold on.
Confidence. She was almost like a Dennis Rodman. I'm saying stuff to her like, never let anyone take anything from you. Protect your little brothers and sisters. Protect the family. Never let anyone take our company. I'm literally saying this to her because I realized she would.
I know we being redundant, but there's so many jewels in this right now. Kanye canceled Adidas. Adidas ain't canceled Kanye.
It's our company. No one ever takes what me and Kim have built with both of our brands and the brands that we're building now.
Do you feel you have a voice as you're co-parenting now?
I do have a voice, but I had to fight for it. I had to go on Instagram and I had to turn up. You know, people want to be, oh yeah, Kanye, whatever. No, I legally changed my name. It's just a beginning of a respect. Or with Adidas, like, oh, you know, we're just gonna like take your colorways and we're just gonna do that.
The couple's focus on their children was evident in the first season of The Kardashians.
No matter what we're going through, I always want my kids to be around their dad as much as possible and just have their mornings with dad and get dropped off at school.
No, I have a voice. And I don't agree with certain things as a dad and as a Christian. I have a right to have a voice on what my kids are wearing, what they're watching, what they're eating. And I believe I have a platform where I get to say what so many dads can't say out loud. There's so many situations where an entire family will go and basically take control of the kids. I know so many people would hit me like out of Chicago.
That's a fact, man. That's a common problem. You know what I mean? Like everybody, baby mama trying to take their kids, move them to a whole nother state and all that, man. He do got a big voice for that.
But I wasn't okay before with the situation, and that's why I said something. And it's just little nuances where there was a parallel to what was happening at Gap, what was happening at Adidas, and what was happening in my home. It was all a kind of a disregard for the voice of something that I co-created. I co-created the children. I co-created the product at Adidas. I co-created the product at Gap. And I let everybody know that there's actually a through line, there's a parallel. And the parallel does touch on discrimination.
Even within your marriage?
Obviously, it's a parallel. What marriage, exactly?
The former marriage, right.
Yeah. I want my kids to go to Donda, and I have to fight for a say-so because they're just programmed. It's just like, hey, all the kids are going to Sierra Canyon. No. I'm their dad. Like, it has to be co-parenting. It's not up to only the woman. Like, men have a choice. Men's voices matter. Yeah. So I understand we've dealt with a lot of frustrations, and there's a lot of protection that I actually brought when I first started dating and when I first got married to Kim. God calls me to not release that. That's still there. This is the mother of my children, and I apologize for any stress that I have caused, even in my frustration, because God calls me to be stronger. But also, ain't nobody else finna be causing no stress either. I need this person to be least stress and the best sound mind and as calm as possible to be able to raise those children at the end of the day. It's not about another media headline. It's not about what people, a lot of times, people, they go for these clickbaits and yeah, you know, there's some responsibilities that I still feel needs to be taken by the entire family, right? About the way we present ourselves. Everything that we do, we need to present ourselves with the highest level of nobility. When we're in a position of influence like we are, we have to say, do we want our children to do this? And not just our children, everyone's children, because we're being used as an influence to everyone's children to sell the product that gives us, that affords us the houses that we put the 800 million security guards in front of. So knowing that to whom is given, much is required. I also require that because I'm sorry, Hulu, I'm sorry, Disney, it didn't work. Even with me out the house, I'm still the head of the house.
I think that many of us had access to see your mom, Donda, in Genius or in other opportunities. And it seemed like she was your number one supporter, that she invested in you. I mean, I remember at one point she said that you played tracks like Michael Jordan shoots free throws.
Case in point, how many times did you see my dad in that documentary? It would have been like he wasn't even alive. Case in point. And everyone's fine with that. I was taken away. My mom was offered a job by the state in the south side of Chicago, the most dangerous place at that time, you know, on the planet.
Moved you from Atlanta.
Moved me from Atlanta. My dad, think about how smart people say I am. My dad's smarter than me. He didn't have a voice.
And so social media, you feel, is that more hurtful or beneficial to you?
That's one of my favorite questions this interview. I mean, we can use a car to rush somebody to the hospital, or we could use a car and accidentally hit somebody while we're rushing somebody to the hospital. It's all in how we use it.
Coming up in a conversation with Ye.
People always want to know, I think, about your mental health. You know, you've talked before about how you were diagnosed as bipolar.
You know what? I think that this idea, this concept of mental health being this big subject is straight up media propaganda to diminish people that are not coloring inside the lines.
Donda Academy. Give me a sense of why you decided you wanted to create a school and what the mission is of the school.
Well, it's a gospel school.
Kanye might be in better shape after losing these deals. You never know what God got blessed for you. Don't think just because you get one thing taken away that there ain't something else waiting for you right after that, man. Y'all can't be scared of change, man.
But had to go and work on during, you know, study hall or between classes or after school or on weekends. And to be able to incorporate that, you know, to be a performing arts school, to be a design school, an architecture school, a farming school, automotive engineering school, a computer, hardware, and software school, financial engineering, not just financial literacy, and also to teach the gospel. And that is Donda.
In this moment right now for you, because you talked about, you know, being able to have a voice in, for example, where your kids go to school. Do you want them to go to Donda Academy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, schools are started with, you know, rich people hiring Aristotle to teach their kids. You know, you can have tutors for specific things and actually turn your kids to like geniuses. And, you know, if your kids are geniuses, promoting that and like they're 3 grade levels ahead. Like that period of theta between like 4 and 8, the kids can learn the most, and they're kind of just sitting them in like this mundane, you know, place into society. It's about like normalizing the kids and making sure that they fit into society. So yeah, if you ask me, the kids should go to my school and that should be supported.
And it's not supported?
Oh, it's definitely not supported. Like all of these like celebrities, we get so distracted by what the internet just said about us and, what we're doing online or what we have to do with our careers, because it's hard out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like hard enough to just raise a family, but then we have to keep up an image. We got to keep up our cars and our houses and our clothes and all that, not realizing that all the while there's this thing that's like that hurts you when you have to like scream about what your kids are wearing, or you have to say it like a million times over.
In addition to his family, his energy is also apparent in his business pursuits and Donda Academy. But many are critical of some of his social media posts, leading some to question his mental health.
People always want to know, I think, about your mental health. You've talked before about how you were diagnosed as bipolar.
You know what? I think that this idea, this concept of mental health being this big subject is straight up media propaganda to diminish people that are not coloring inside the lines. Even the Genius documentary was a backhanded version of that by the time they got to the third act, he's like, oh, I turned the camera off on you.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. For 2 years, they try to say I want a billionaire.
Well, if you're my friend and my boy, why wouldn't you have said, hey, yo, I turned the camera off on you and I'm gonna put it in this documentary? Unless that's what they want. They want to have it where if there's anything that's innovative, like we just accept this kind of idea of people saying like, hey, we want to talk about your mental health. And it's like, almost like if a white person said to a black person, hey, we want to talk about your blackness.
I get it.
Like, wait, what? We want to talk about this thing. And one of the things about the whole mental health conversation is even a crazy person can call you crazy. It's like, no matter what you do, and it used to hurt me. It hurt my ego. And it's something that I think, God, put on me. So I feel like when I finally go to heaven, I get to talk to God, I'm gonna say, why did you let all these people think I was so crazy? And God is gonna say, well, it was a camouflage. I was protecting you.
Protecting you from what?
Just, people write off the fact that I'm gonna change the world. They just think it's crazy.
How are you gonna change the world?
More? How are we gonna change the world more?
More.
Fresh air, fresh food. Fresh food cures cancer. I don't want to say that because New York Times is gonna take that and say he's gonna cure cancer. But true enough, it's like your food, your diet is the most important thing.
Your live it.
Yeah, you live it. Yeah, you're live it because you don't want to die. You are what you eat. You are what you consume. You are what you consume, not just eating. You are what you consume in any way, from the people that you're around, sunlight, the type of, music, the art you listen to. So we're gonna change everything. Apple is the #1 company on the planet, and Yeezy's gonna take the spot. Yeezy's gonna be bigger than Apple. And we're gonna be bigger by supporting the planet. So I'm Steve Jobs, and the earth is not, no.
But you mean in an apparel way?
You mean you're talking about in just clothing?
When you're saying that you're going to change the world and that you're going to replace Apple as Yeezy, I mean, right now we know.
Well, I didn't say we're
Yeezy
going to replace Apple. We're still going to use Apple. Apple is just it's a standard, it's a base. Apple is part of the reason that Yeezy's going to have the opportunity to be bigger. We're going to stand on the shoulders of Apple, and that's exactly what Steve would have wanted. He would have wanted to inspire a kid like me, as Jay-Z said in the show movie Eating Cereal, to stand on the shoulders of Apple and take it to the next frontier. and to realize that the human being is the iPhone and our earth is our office. And we need to support both of those things in everything that we do. And that's how, not me, but we, as a collective, our species, we're gonna change the world. We're gonna change the world through information, through knowledge, through love, through respect, through understanding. I can't single-handedly change the world, but we can implement the truth. And let's start with the truth and start with transparency. And we can collectively, not can, I don't like the word can, we will make the world better. And I understand in this world that, as my grandfather used to say, you're gonna need some money, that you're gonna need some money. But when I lean on the idea of the richest Black man of all time, it was really in defense of the mental health conversation. It's like, well, if I'm so what you say I am, why did I end up with this? Maybe I was right. Maybe I'm actually right about these things. And you didn't want anyone to know I was right. So you said, don't listen to him. He's this. But then you go back and play everything I ever said in slow motion, whether I said it really high or whether I said it really low. And it's like, oh, that's actually true. And there's so many examples throughout history where people were misunderstood in their time. And it's I do not like when people say, oh, you're 20 years ahead of your time. Well, I'm not doing a good job because I need to, like we were saying before, be able to actualize these things that are 20 years ahead and bring them to people in real life, or else it's something that only I'm enjoying in my imagination. God needs, the world needs to enjoy what's in my imaginations. I could like just literally hear Dizzy Gillespie in the back. I see dreams.
Oh, yeah, right.
In 2016, he reimagined himself in the world of politics.
He's a good man.
Publicly pledging his support for then Republican candidate Donald Trump. Then in 2020, he ran for president of the United States himself and says his days in politics are not over.
Obviously, you did run for president in 2020. Do you have future political aspirations?
Yes, absolutely. The aspirations, you know,
Is that clear enough?
That time wasn't in God's time. I'm sure there's lives that were saved. I'm sure God had me fall on the sword and say, this is not the time. But, you know, he's a redeemer. He's given me this oxygen. He's given me this platform. He's put amazing people around me. He's given me new publicists, a new lease on life, new air to breathe, and a new respect.
You talked about how we are what we consume, and including who we spend time with. I'm just curious. Apparently, you spend a lot of time with J.R. Kushner. Is that just a friendship, or that's political still for the future, or a little both?
His brother said he'd kill him if he go back to the White House.
So
that's the answer.
Oh, okay. But you still want to run for president?
You know, I met Mayor Suarez down in Miami, and I thought he'd make a really good president also.
In addition to you?
I mean...
While he may not be ready to make a decision on the future of his political career, Ye is already looking toward the future with regard to sustainability and how to make life better for the next generation.
Do you feel like this is a time of renaissance, basically, and that you are even opening up more access for other creators coming up behind you?
Absolutely. We've opened up a lot of access. That's what the school is about. The school is a platform for our next generation to continue this imagination, to be fearless, to be brave, to be imaginative, to actualize our dream, to bring the visions to reality and not be afraid to. and not have to be called crazy and not have to be, diminished by the press and not have to fight in order to just do something for people. Like, we're really here to serve. I wouldn't mind if I was not photographed again. I want to we're gonna present this architectural, this engineering approach to giving us a simplified balance of nature and man.
Lastly, are you still energized by people telling you you can't?
Well, I like that you use the word energized over the word excited. That's Donda-fied language. I was with a friend of mine, and he had a slogan that said, "How can I help?" And I said, all of those words could be more powerful. I is singular. We is far more powerful. All is a very powerful vibration. Can is like, okay, we can, but did we? How? It's a question. The truth is unquestionable. To speak in affirmations like Yoda. And help, actually the fourth definition in the word help is to avoid. It's like when you're at the end of a meeting with somebody and they say, well, how can I help? It's meaning like, I'm gonna give you somebody else's number because I'm not going to be the one to be dealing with you type of thing. So, and with the word excited, so many times people get excited and they make a rash decision. Whereas with us, when things happen that are amazing or things happen that are disappointing, we stay energized, we stay level, we stay peaceful through that. And that's the next frontier. That's the next level of this video game of life.
Right now, Ye is, can you finish that sentence?
Tired of doing the interview.
All right, all right, all right.
Right now, Ye is finished with the interview.
All right. Hey, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The artist, formerly known as Kanye West, is a visionary, hailed by some as one of the greatest creative minds of all time.
Kanye West stunt run for president.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Kanye West feeling the backlash from his recent social media rants.
But he's certainly not without controversy. Some know him more for his headlines than his hits. His high-profile marriage with Kim Kardashian, the relationship with his children, his outbursts on social media, and most recently ending a deal with The Gap and threatening to end his deal with Adidas. We sit down to have a conversation with Ye.
I mean, it was supposed to be a 10-year deal with Adidas and Gap. Why did you want to terminate it?
It's those nuances where people act like they your daddy or something. They purposely didn't open the stores that they were supposed to. How am I born in Atlanta and it's not a store in Atlanta? How am I raised in Chicago and it's not a store in Chicago? That means that I was there for some specific agenda, not for Yeezy Gap to be everything that it could be, or this dream that I had about what the Gap could be. But it's time for me to make my own thing. I have respect and love for the Fisher family, and that's their dad's thing. They made something great. It inspired me. Now it's time for me to go and make something great that inspires the next me, if there ever will be. We had to level up. We really had to level up and show them who's the new boss in town, that I'm the boss of me. I'm no longer just the man riding the top of the polo horse. I'm not just the mascot in the middle of games, getting the crowd hyped up saying, hey, wear this, do this. But, just learn, financial engineering, learn how to really run a company. I had this New Year's resolution that I was only going to talk to people who listen to me.
The Gap provided a statement to ABC News saying in part, "We are confident we have been in compliance with the terms of our agreement since the outset, and we will continue to work amicably to unwind it. Above all, we wish Ye well." Ye remains in a legal battle with Adidas to receive ownership of his brand. The next step, he says, is to sell Yeezy directly to consumers, something he argued about with radio host Sway back in 2013.
Why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
So Sway, almost 10 years ago, said, man, why don't you do it on your own? Was he right?
You know what? I will go ahead and say Sway had the answer. I know people are going to be like, no.
Is that going to be affordable and accessible for people? Because I know some of your sneakers are thousands of dollars.
I mean, if it's up to Meezy, Yeezy, it'd be freezy. You know, Meezy. But you know, life is free. Life is the event. Life is a gift.
But wait, I want to go back to that because you said if it were up to Meezy, it would be freezy. But how much is it going to be? Because, you know, people want to know. How much is it going to be? Yeah. First store is going to be in Atlanta, right? People who are going to walk in off the street, can they buy something for $30?
20.
20.
I like multiples of 20. Simplifying things.
20 will get me a t-shirt.
Get you 4 t-shirts.
So it's going to be very accessible.
Very accessible.
Very affordable.
Very affordable.
So you were able to kind of accomplish what you needed, it seems, with Gap and Adidas. Perhaps it was a breach of contract situation. So now you're going to be able to still. You, as a dad, are you getting now some progress with that and able to spend the time you want with your children?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's a process, and there has been progress. God bless. Like a couple days ago, I got to see my daughter's improvement in basketball. Like the first season, you know, she was just kind of not knowing what to do, not knowing how to handle the ball, not knowing how to handle herself. And, you know, as far as co-parenting goes, I put my foot down with Kim and I said, like, I learned how to play basketball in a summer and came back and won championships. So I, as her dad, am gonna go and I'm gonna coach her every morning. She trained every day and I really stayed on her. And when she came back, she had the confidence. She was almost like a Dennis Rodman. I'm saying stuff to her like, never let anyone take anything from you. Protect your little brothers and sisters. Protect the family. Never let anyone take our company. I'm literally saying this to her because I realize she's one of the people in the family that will make sure that no one ever takes our company. No one ever takes what me and Kim have built with both of our brands and the brands that we're building now.
Do you feel you have a voice as you're co-parenting now?
I do have a voice, but I had to fight for it. I had to go on Instagram and I had to turn up. You know, people want to be, oh yeah, Kanye, whatever. No, I legally changed my name. It's just a beginning of a respect. Or with Adidas, like, oh, you know, we're just gonna like take your colorways and we're just gonna do that.
The couple's focus on their children was evident in the first season of The Kardashians.
No matter what we're going through, I always want my kids to be around their dad as much as possible and just to have their mornings with dad and get dropped off at school.
No, I have a voice. And I don't agree with certain things as a dad and as a Christian. I have a right to have a voice on what my kids are wearing, what they're watching, what they're eating. And I believe I have a platform where I get to say what so many dads can't say out loud. There's so many situations where an entire family will go and basically take control of the kids. I know so many people would hit me like out of Chicago and say, yo, I just went through the same thing as you. And then people will call me and say, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, well, I'm okay now because I said something, but I wasn't okay before with the situation, and that's why I said something. And it's just little nuances where there was a parallel to what was happening at Gap, what was happening at Adidas, and what was happening in my home. It was all a kind of a disregard for the voice of something that I co-created. I co-created the children. I co-created the product at Adidas. I co-created the product at Gap. And I let everybody know that there's actually a through line, there's a parallel. And the parallel does touch on discrimination.
Even within your marriage?
Obviously, it's a parallel. What marriage exactly?
The former marriage, right.
Yeah. I want my kids to go to Donda, and I have to fight for a say-so because they're just programmed. It's just like, hey, all the kids are going to Sierra Canyon. No, I'm their dad. Like, it has to be co-parenting. It's not up to only the woman. Like, men have a choice. Men's voices matter. Yeah. So I understand we've dealt with a lot of frustrations, and there's a lot of protection that I actually brought when I first started dating and when I first got married to Kim. God calls me to not release that. That's still there. This is the mother of my children, and I apologize for any stress that I have caused, even in my frustration, because God calls me to be stronger. But also, ain't nobody else finna be causing no stress either.
Mm. What's good, fellow? Well, you on bullshit, huh? You on some bullshit. That's an ugly ass fucking little face you got there.
What's up, puto?
You look like you do bad shit for the holidays.
This how we living?
This is how we living. What's good? Lanice, salute. Shapira, salute. You know what I'm saying? Michael, salute, brother. You know what I mean? Michael check 1 2 1 2. What is it? Michael check 1 2.
Mac, it's good. Salute everybody.
What's up, Rad?
Yo, salute. Salute.
Salute, salute. My boy right there, man. He got that ugly little face right there. Look at that thing.
Yeah, what's good, family?
Damn. That's a bad motherfucking kid right there. Yeah. What we got going on in the chat, man? Everyone who got fired for not taking the vaccine has to get rehired and all that back pay. Trump 2024. No, I mean, people got fired because of that shit, because they didn't want to put that shit in their body.
Yeah.
They did them bad. Super bad. Mm-mm-mm. This guy's ugly right here. This motherfucker right here definitely responsible for a few murders, robberies, and he keeps his teeth clean. You know, these people are this bored. Yikes. We're not bored. We're just vibing out. Look, see, we're on chill time. Now you're on chill time too. Now you can chill with us. You know what I'm saying? Death Row Records. That's me. Okay, all right. I just shot somebody, man. Man, Blanco, we don't know what's going on. We just trying to figure it out ourselves, man. I just know this guy right here is ugly as fuck. Oh man, I'm about to take it down, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to take it down. Pillows, I hit you on the side, man. I just want to put my lights up. All right, I'm out of here, y'all.